Senator, fantastic to see you, sir. One of the things that a lot of people are talking about is we, the United States, needs even more tax cuts, deeper tax cuts, potentially using the revenue raised from these tariffs. Is that even doable, given the fact that this is kind of the third of 8 go-rounds on this tax cut, this one big, beautiful bill? Is that something even doable out of Congress? The House has it now, but out of the Senate as well.
I think the Republicans would like to cut taxes as much as possible for the American people. Unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult. Right now, we're talking about just keeping current policy, meaning making the president's tax cuts he put in place in 2018, making them permanent, and so they don't expire right now. Because, Dagan, as you know, if they expire, it's a $4 trillion tax increase on every single American, regardless of what tax bracket you're in. So I think the first step is make the current tax policy permanent, and then hopefully we can see us get our financial house in order, because obviously we're carrying a huge deficit, and start paying down the deficit. When that starts happening, then you could probably talk about doing additional cuts, because what we don't need to do is raise taxes and send more money up here to Washington, D.C. and let us spend it in a frivolous way.
Senator, a good friend, Larry Kudlow, and I agree with him. He has said many times that he wanted to see the tax cuts first and the tariff agenda later. It did not come from this administration in that order, and now the reporting out there is that, you know, they did the tariffs first and it's going to mess up the rest of the agenda. What say you?
I don't think it's going to mess up the rest of the agenda. Listen, President Trump is the only president we've had in my lifetime to actually have the guts to be able to do this. At some point, we were going to have to right this wrong. We're allowing countries to take advantage of our strong economy. And keep in mind, the reason why you have 70 countries that's come to the table right now is because people have to do business with us, because we're the strongest and the most active economy out there. And so if the idea that they continue to take advantage of us was going to have to right the ship. This president, President Trump, was actually strong enough and bold enough to do that. Now, is it perfect? No. Is a rollout been great? It's been okay, because people are starting to come to us, but we've had some trouble in the market because the market reacts to speculation and they have a hard time actually looking at the futures. And this is about setting the tone for future generations and for future workers in America. So the tax policy is currently being worked out. And so the president had to do this now for the tariffs, while we work on one big, beautiful bill to make the tax policies permanent. And we will get that done sometime probably in the summer.
I think the market, too, Senator, just freaked out at those wild, all over the place reciprocal tariff numbers on nations that we have even decent relationships with. They were just expecting a flat across the board, say 10% tariff, and we got that too.
Right.
What you mentioned, go ahead.
But Dagan, this isn't just about tariffs. This is also about access to the economy. For instance, Japan has 0 tariffs on U.S.-made vehicles, although you can't sell one in Japan because you can't gain access to the market. So it's not just reciprocal tariffs, it's also accessibility to their market. The president says he wants reciprocal tariffs, but he also wants access to market. So reciprocal tariffs means if you want to sell a product to us, then we want to sell a product to you, and the goalpost has to be the same distance apart.
Yes, sir. And this has brought Japan to the table, indeed.
Yeah. Well, spending cuts, I want to talk about that, because that's a really important part of the overall framework of how this agenda, Trump economic plan, is going to basically work. So there are at least 5 to 10 House Republicans who can't support Senate GOP, the Senate GOP framework, and that's the problem. The Senate has not wanted to cut as deeply, and so I'm wondering where this is going to end up, because at the end of the day, you need the tax cuts, you need the spending cuts, you need the tariff situation to resolve itself to be able to have the plan come to fruition and the American people to prosper.
Well, Jackie, this is one step of a two-step program. Right now, all this is the framework. You said that absolutely right. This is a framework. Nothing prohibits the House from going in and working on their reconciliation package and making as much cuts as they want to. It doesn't set any standards for them. It instructs the Senate. It doesn't instruct the House. But the difference between the House and the Senate is we had the Byrd rule in the Senate. And what the difference is the House can walk through a garage door that's wide open. When we get to the garage door, they close it, and we have to break out the little window on top of the garage door and figure out how we're going to go through it. So this is just the budget bill that they have to pass simply allows us to move forward to the reconciliation to where they can put whatever guts they want to on it and make it work. So they have to pass this before we can even get to reconciliation, where we can even go after the Doge cuts, where we can actually go after the waste, fraud, and abuse and look towards balancing the budget. But we have to pass this first step first.
Yeah, you're essentially saying they should fight amongst themselves, because there are a lot of Republicans in the House who also will push back on the House Freedom Caucus and their demands.
Right.
So, Senator, great to see you.
We'll get it done.
Yes, you will.
We'll get it done at the end of the day.
Put the hammer down, Senator
That's
Mark
right.
Wayne Mullin.
They can go to say you.